Boom 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 boom.
That's terrible. Hello, everyone, and welcome to CineQuest Video. Today, we have a brand new podcast, sub-podcast from our normal movie discussions. This is CineQuest Watches Seinfeld. I might choose a better name before this is actually out. So if it is a different name, you won't be confused.
Yeah.
But I am here. My name is Ray, and I'm here with co-host Bryce.
Yellow.
And we're here to talk about one of our favorite television series of all time.
Or I should say, hello.
Hello. Seinfeld. One of the, I would say, probably a very influential TV show. I would say like it almost is on par with like in competition wise with Friends.
We don't say the F word around here.
These shows kind of ran around the same time. I think Seinfeld was first.
Oh.
But I personally never got into Friends.
Neither did I.
I know I have family members. I know a lot of people who are like obsessed, and I mean excruciatingly obsessed with Friends.
Yeah.
I think Friends does have a better marketing campaign.
Well, it's for everybody, dude.
Yeah,
it's it's all, feel good bullshit. Let's be honest with you. Everyone always talks about if I may digress, well, not digress, but if I can add on to that topic, I know my mom, my dad and I love Seinfeld. Well, I love Seinfeld. I guess my dad kind of liked it too a little bit, but my mom, her big thing with Seinfeld was it's like, they're all so mean. They're so cruel to each other. And I was like, yes, exactly.
Yes, and if I recall, Larry David, one of the co-creators of Seinfeld, it was Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld.
By the way, I don't know why I made her sound like Jerry's mom.
They're
all so cruel to each other.
that almost seems like appropriate. Seinfeld was created with Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David. And from my recollection, it was Larry David who said specifically when it came to the sitcom, no hugs, no lessons. So basically, every episode isn't resolved by someone learning something, and or like getting emotional about something.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because it's very different for the time. Because you think about all the sitcoms of the 80s and the 70s, it was all like that. They always had a message of some kind. So to do something that didn't have anything like that, didn't wrap itself up at the end with a nice, like, warm, fuzzy feeling, that's pretty revolutionary for the time.
Yeah, and I think that's why Seinfeld stood out and has stood the test of time, even though it's very dated in their, like...
Well, now, sure.
Now it's for sure dated, but I'm just saying, like...
So is Friends. Friends is dated
No,
as fuck.
no, absolutely, but I'm just saying in the New York City that this takes place in, like, that is a very different time. But the topics
they don't have the Twin Towers anymore.
The topics that they do deal with are obviously timeless.
Oh, of course.
And then whenever you have like certain
like where can you get a good matzo ball soup? Where can you get a brisket?
What deli are you always hanging out at?
Yeah, exactly.
In Friends, I would say that it seems more unrealistic because, like you said, everyone kind of like there's a lesson to be learned at some point or another. People date other people and various versions of them in the show, and everyone's cool with it.
Yep.
It doesn't seem to bother anybody, and everyone lives in a very nice apartment without any. It doesn't seem like a Friends persons or Friends fans are going to come at me for this. That it seemed too perfect in the way that they lived with each other. In this case, there is a bit of like dirt underneath everything for Seinfeld.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of seedy characters that they deal with within the city. Not everyone's like so. Even they are self-deprecating in Friends, but I think even with the star of the show, Jerry. Later on in the series, like they start making fun of his actual comedy, like him as a comedian and stuff. So like, and he's not safe from like the ridicule of the other characters in the show, which is I think
what?
is great. And Jerry doesn't always take the high road
No,
as the
never
star
really,
too.
honestly, dude.
Well, even as like the funny guy, he doesn't always get the funny lines. He's not like people remember side characters from Seinfeld.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not necessarily Jerry Seinfeld is
Yep.
like the funniest guy in this because he's not.
Yeah.
Like it's the people around him.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that kind of stood out to me as well.
Yeah, it's not like David Schwimmer trying to take all the credit. No. Yeah, man, and there's just like a lot of neuroses that the characters have that shine through. And yes, the people in Friends do as well, I guess, but it's just everyone in Seinfeld is just so like they all have ulterior motives, like they never act with any sense of like any kind of philanthropic nature. It's all just you know what I mean? Like they always want something in return.
Yeah,
If like,
they're
you know,
kind of
even
selfish
like
bastards.
not to, yes, like not even to like jumps, seasons or whatever, but perfect example, like the episode where he wants to help oh my god, Abu, yeah, and the whole time he wants to Pakistani wrestler wants to whatever. It's like he wants to help him to like get business, but it's just so he can feel like a good person.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he wants the validation of
Yeah.
being good because I know, like, I mean, realistically, he also thinks that he's not a good person. He does a lot of selfish acts, you know, especially
Yeah.
with the women he dates,
oh yeah,
as we witnessed throughout the series, and his interaction even with like his friends, and again that's not going to say even with like Kramer, George, Elaine, Newman. Like all these people have motives,
Dude.
and no one ever does anything selfless. At least, you know, revisiting this series, we might actually find a time where someone actually does something selfless without any sort of motivation.
maybe.
But I will not hold my breath for that.
Well, ooh, crazy connection here, dude. But you know what this kind of reminds me of with all this shit? Shallow Hal. Because he always finds some problem with a woman, man hands, all that stuff, whatever. And you know who's in Shallow Hal? Jason Alexander. Weird.
6 degrees of film.
Yeah.
And you know, growing, we'll get into this in just a minute, but I would like to go over. Again, we're still talking about Seinfeld. This initially,
Always talking about
this,
Seinfeld.
yeah,
What are you talking about, man?
this series kind of had a reputation for being about nothing. So it's not like a narrative that continues throughout the series. Your characters that you should, if you missed a particular episode where a character is introduced and they come in again later on, that's something where the connection would be lost. And other than that, there's just like character references and all these kind of things in the way they behave that you will miss out or not get the joke later on in certain episodes. But this show is pretty much a show about this mundane life in New York City from a comedian's perspective and the friends that he surrounds himself with. And the fact that he kind of has these friends kind of come and go as they please in his apartment. They're always visiting. They're always taking trips together. And they're always being bastards together too.
Yep.
And sometimes it doesn't seem like they do it deliberately, like they have malicious intent, but it kind of comes off that way, even to the people around them too.
Well, there's three. I don't know about three. There's like two central locations in Seinfeld: Jerry's apartment and Monk's Diner. Those are the two recurring locales. I was trying to think, is there a third one later on? Lane's apartment, but it's not very not often.
No, but that's still not the central place. I mean, that's kind of like
it's pretty much Jerry's apartment. That's
yeah,
like
and the only time we visit Elaine's apartment is either when she's dealing with a boyfriend, right? Because that's kind of like where she will do something on her own without these other characters involved. And I mean, that's when we get introduced to like Putty. And,
I guess it's just
even
Jerry
those other
and Monks. That's
it's
about
Jerry
it.
and Monk's Diner. That's pretty much it. And just a fun fact on this, Bryce. When I visited New York City, back
you try to go see Monk's Diner.
We passed by it.
Is it a real Monk's Diner?
Well, it was called something else, but it wasn't Monk's Diner. But it was that diner that they always film in the corner. And I passed by it, and I'll tell you right now, like I was in euphoria.
I should have gone in there.
I was just like, Mind you, we're on a bus. I could not get off and see it. I just remember
in there and ordered a big salad, man.
or someone said, "Look, is Jerry here? Is Jerry Seinfeld
or
here?"
you should have gone in, try to bring your own condiments, and see if the manager comes out.
Bring my own maple syrup.
Yeah, bring your own maple syrup.
So, Bryce.
Yeah.
As a fan of Seinfeld, the series,
yeah, not the comedian.
Not the comedian. Yes. What is your history with Seinfeld? Like, when did you see it, or how would you see it? What channels did you watch it on?
Young lad, NBC.
NBC, right?
Yeah, that's where we saw. That's where I saw it. We had it on TV. It would come on. I think my dad would watch it. I remember seeing it at a very young age, and then. Man, I don't even know why I got so connected with it, but like I just found it humorous. And
you're like in middle school, you're like, yes, master of my domain, yes, absolutely.
No, I don't, dude. I'm telling you, man. Like it would come on, we'd watch it on. I think my dad, he wasn't like big into it, but it would come on. My dad would watch it, and I would watch it with him. And then, funny enough, man, you mentioned middle school. It's weird because when I remember first seeing it when we lived in a duplex, and then we moved out into a house, and there was like a shed outside, and I think I told you I had like a music room outside, like disconnect from the house. Like that was my dad used to be my dad's dark room when he would develop, but he didn't do it for a while. He didn't do it anymore, so I just made it a music room. But I had TV in there, and I would watch. This is back, guys, just so you know, for all your young listeners, this is back when you would get TV on an antenna. Okay. So I could watch TV out there, and they would always have reruns of Seinfeld on, on 23. And I would always remember, because I was smoking a lot of weed, I'd be rolling my joints in there and like watching the fucking, and I'm like, this fucking situational comedy, man. Fucking like, I was wrong.
It's funny
stupid as shit, dude.
that like none of that ever happens in Seinfeld. Like anyone smoking.
No, it doesn't.
Like, there's no drug use really in Seinfeld.
Nah, but I would just be there rolling and fucking like, fucking Kramer, dude. Or some shit. Yeah, anyways, but that was my experience with it. And then even like, I remember when it's syndication on like TNT. Oh, TNT. Well, we got cable or satellite, and then it was always syndicated on TNT, I think was, or TBS. TBS. Yeah. And I would just watch it. And then my friend was really into it. My friend Randy. Oh, he used to fucking talk about Seinfeld all the time. So it's funny that you were so into Seinfeld, because I had another friend that was into Seinfeld. So I guess Seinfeldians, like they all
kind of like congregate at some
point. And then we have another friend, Ron, that's really into Seinfeld, and we'd always commiserate on fucking how humorous it was. So
yeah, it's weird. It's weird, but it's also cool to find young people who are still into Seinfeld, because I feel like I've had cousins who are like watching Friends all the time, right? That was the show that they watched, and they didn't really like mess with Seinfeld, but until recently, I think maybe about 3 years ago, I had a cousin of mine who actually started watching Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And I remember her telling me, she was like, I started watching Seinfeld and it's like really funny. I go, yeah, it is.
Well, it's funny too, man, because you have the friend. It's very much like Friends versus Seinfeld. You have people who love Seinfeld and people who love Friends. And you have these like groups. There's a huge dichotomy between these groups. It's like, I don't know, man. It's almost like clockwork, man. You can find a person that's into Friends, and they will not like Seinfeld.
Yeah.
You can find people like Seinfeld who do not like Friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can find two groups that like Mad About You.
Man, who remembers that show?
Mad About You.
Was it Helen Hunt? Who else? Was it his name? Paul Reiser, right?
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Because I'm mad about you. Yeah.
That one would come on NBC too when I was a kid, and I would catch it. I think my mom was really into Mad About You, and I would catch it. Oh shit. I just remember there's an episode where they had motherfucking Bruce Willis on there.
Oh yeah.
That was weird.
Well, and like even in Friends, like they had like fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme come out and shit.
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme wasn't coming out in Seinfeld.
No, why the hell not, man? They did not have any big. Well, they had some.
They had some big names.
People who maybe went on to be a bigger name actors.
Yeah, they had Mariska Hargitay, who was
Cranston.
Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston has played so many classic
He cut
characters
his teeth on Seinfeld.
in his career.
Nah,
Dude.
I'm just kidding.
He's a great character in Seinfeld. You know, but again, that's going further into the series. And as we go along, I am excited to talk about Seinfeld and go revisit every single episode.
A lot of people don't know this,
again.
but season 9, Sydney Sweeney's first role as a child.
When it comes to myself, Bryce, I believe I started watching Seinfeld. I can't tell you the year, but I know it was around season 7 when it was actually playing on NBC. And I would wait till the Thursday night situation where like it would come on. I would watch
TV.
Yeah, I would watch that. I would watch Seinfeld, and I think I would watch Friends, but not really pay attention to Friends. I don't remember that deliberately, but I mean, I could say that for certain that I was watching Seinfeld on Thursday nights. But since I had cable, I was also watching reruns of it, of the back catalog on TBS, and they would always play at least an hour of it.
Oh, wait a minute.
Back to back.
Was it reruns on TBS before the show ended?
Yeah, they were already in like syndication.
Oh, interesting.
I was always I had various VHS recordings of Seinfeld because, you know, at the time I wasn't aware that in the future that there was going to be actual TV series sold.
In the year 2000.
Oh, Conan, you bastard.
Yeah.
So I would record these episodes. I had Seinfeld, and my other favorite show, I don't know if you are aware of this show, Bryce, was Working with Fred Savage.
Working?
Yeah, it's called Working, yeah. It was a short-lived TV series. It was also like really weird and had very like it was kind of like news radio.
I was gonna say you were into news radio, and I caught a little bit of news radio. I never watched it too much, but dude, the 90s was the big time for sitcom. Fucking Veronica's Closet. Yeah, news radio. There's another one too. I was thinking, Alan McBeal. No,
that was like Fox. Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't really watch that though. My shows at the time were news radio and Seinfeld. And I would still watch reruns of Cheers. Cheers was also like a staple in my house as well. And I still think Cheers is a great show. I don't watch it as much. Cheers seems more like a Sunday morning breakfast kind of show.
Seinfeld may have been the most highbrow because I remember my dad. There's 2 shows my dad really liked. I want to say Seinfeld. I could be wrong, but I know my dad watched Seinfeld and fucking big one, man. Oh, sorry. 2 big ones. Forever Night and Married with Children. Forever Night and Married with Children. Those are the fucking 2 shows would not be missed.
Well, when it comes to sitcoms, it was that I did watch Forever Night as well.
Yeah.
I never missed it. It was always a pairing. I don't remember if this was deliberate in the way they would show it on TV, but it was Forever Night that I would watch, and then immediately watch, or again vice versa, of Tales from the Crypt.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because was Tales from the Crypt was on?
It was on HBO.
Oh, HBO.
I had cable again. I had cable, so like I would jump from Forever Night, which was on Fox, I think. Or it was Channel 5, late night, like 10 o'clock. Yeah. And then I would jump over to Tales from the Crypt.
I can still remember the intro to that movie, or that not movie, but that show. Oh my God, my dad loved that show. And my dad was so into Star Trek. Like both, it's funny because my dad and my uncle Star Trek fans, big time. So those are the 3 we cannot miss.
Star Trek,
Married with Children, Forever Night, and Star Trek.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great sitcoms, and I think, to me, personally speaking, Seinfeld was like the pinnacle of television sitcoms because it's something I rewatch regularly. And there's certain scenarios that still make me laugh out loud every time I watch it, even though I've heard the joke or I've seen the punchline coming from a mile away, because I have so much muscle memory with this show. Yeah. Like I could just hear the beginning. I'm like, okay, I know what's going on in this show. And I could just explain exactly what's happening, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I think the first and second season aren't my most familiar, but like once you go past like season 3 and later, Like I have those in my brain like already, especially with all the characters: Newman, Soup Nazi, Putty, Elaine's boyfriend, who's also again also a great character. Bryan Cranston, he's a dentist.
Yep. The
We have
anti-dentite.
Jay Peterman.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
have.
What was the other guy? What was the other name of the Elaine's boss? The one that did the Nazi, like inadvertently did like
Mr. Pitt.
Mr. Pitt. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, every time I think of Mr. Pitt, I always think of him staring at the
The
puzzle,
3D, yeah.
the 3D puzzle. Yeah. He's just like, I cannot see it. Diane." Or the socks,
The
like
socks,
like,
yeah.
the
Socks.
no, Elaine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so many great characters in Seinfeld, and that's not like Jerry's like one of the last characters that people remember as far as like being great in this episode in this show. It's everyone else that shines, and I think as far as like his name is the person on this show, and he doesn't give himself the best lines, the best scenarios. He lets other people shine through. And that's what I think is great about this show. Is that like it's just so many characters that are memorable, so many lines that are quotable. This show is so quotable. I mean, again,
You know what? That's a good point. I never thought about that. What does Seinfeld really bring to the show? It's like he's okay.
the cringe comedy,
Yeah.
the scenarios. You know, he brings
man.
the observational comedy. That is not that great. I remember Bryce.
I kind of I'll tell you what. The most probably my favorite of all the Seinfelds when he steals the fucking bread from the old lady.
yeah.
The bread, you old bag.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite one. Or even when he turns to where he's like the episode where he shaves and he's like got the werewolf transformation. He's like,
yeah. Or the dichotomy of the cookie. Look to the cookie.
oh
lane,
yeah.
right. And
Hey
all
man, I'll tell you what, dude. There's a
relations
little restaurant here in McAllen, man, New York Deli. I always get the
black and white cookie.
Yep, and I always tell everyone that whenever I get it, I'm like, I was telling for like with my mom or dad or whatever, I was like, or having lunch with somebody, I'd be like, look to the cookie lane, look to the cookie.
But yeah, so I watched it a lot as a kid. I remember waiting for the season finale and being at the time somewhat lukewarm on it. I've appreciated as time has gone on.
Hold on, dude. What does he say though? When he's getting sick on the fucking cookie? It's like the Rodney King riots in my stomach or some
like
shit.
race relations or some shit like that. Yeah, yeah, because he's never thrown up.
Yeah,
and this is the first time
but
he's
he
gonna
gets
throw
sick
up
on
in
the
years.
cookie. It's a fucking less. It's the Rodney King riots on my stomach or some shit. God damn it.
Like I said, it's not something I own. I wish I would own the actual physical copy of this series.
Expensive, man.
It is expensive, yeah, and I think they're recently coming out with like a 4K version of that or something like, or a Blu-ray. I don't know. Who knows? All I know is that Seinfeld himself, Jerry Seinfeld, has gotten so fucking rich off this show.
Oh.
So rich.
I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that there was a one point in his life when he had so much money that he was able to buy like a high rise for his cars. Like he bought like a whole parking
garage.
Yeah, a whole parking garage for his
That's
like,
wild, dude.
Yeah, for his cars, man.
But good on him for knowing the going out on top thing because he was never canceled. He decided to call it quits after 9, which is a strange number. I was like, was he?
Are you going to start numerology?
Was
stuff,
he attributing to like the Beatles number 9?
I'll tell you exactly what it is, man. It's all
9?
Kabbalistic magic, man. You know? What if Jerry was secretly like real big into Judaism and he's like following the Kabbalah and shit, and he's like. Yes, number 9. That is the secret number. We have to end on 9.
Must end on number 9. Yeah. So yeah. Again, watching it as a kid, it's great. I love it. I have been watching it. I think I've dedicated at this point.
Sorry, the Kabbalah. I was like Kabbalah. That's a different thing with.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I've dedicated almost 25 plus years, maybe 27 years to watching Seinfeld on a regular basis. That's crazy.
When Netflix announced that they were going to start showing it, that was more money in Jerry's pocket, dude.
But you know what's funny, Bryce?
I started watching it. I was scene here.
I was
Anyways,
I was watching it on Hulu, right? And I was just like, when they took it off, I was like, oh
Hulu. It's on
man,
Netflix now, my man.
no, but it was on Hulu.
Yes.
Yes, but then
I don't know why that makes so much
and when they
sense.
took it off, I was like bummed.
That makes
I was
so
like,
much
why
sense
can't I fucking
for
watch it?
Seinfeld to be on.
And then Netflix, it comes on
Hulu.
Netflix, and I was like, yeah, like I've never seen any episode in my life. You know, I was just happy to be able to stream it regularly without having to buy a physical copy or like have cable to like watch it in syndication.
I'm sorry. We're watching. Full disclosure, we're watching a couple episodes of Seinfeld while we're doing this. And how much did this bring you back, dude? It's fucking
on VHS.
Yeah, going to the rental store. But there's a scene in here where they're going to the comedy section, and there's a movie in there. I was like, that's not comedy.
We'll talk about that.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Episode 2.
Yes, I know.
So, like we said, we talked about this for a while already. Like, who created Jerry and Larry David? Friends in the comedy scene in New York City. They got together and wrote some of these episodes, or majority of these episodes. It's Jerry Seinfeld starring as the titular character Seinfeld. We have Julia Louis-Dreyfus starring as Elaine, which is a person that they dated before, but they become friends. We have Jason Alexander, who is George Costanza.
Yes,
a very neurotic character. One of the most selfish out of all of them.
Yeah.
And then we have
Michael Richards.
Yes, the infamous Michael Richards comedy debacle.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that very much.
We won't.
Michael Richards is.
I want to ask you though, real quick. Has he done anything since the incident?
Absolutely not. He's been collecting checks from Seinfeld, dude.
Oh man, I would be too. If
yeah,
I was
right?
him.
You ain't gotta do shit. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? But yeah, so those are the four main characters. Michael Richards as Kramer, first starting off in this particular episode 1, season 1, as Kessler. And
Kessler, the Kramer, that's too good. They should name
Kramer.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, Kessler cannot be the name.
It is, and it doesn't.
Cosmo Kessler.
Cosmo Kessler. Yeah.
No.
It ran for 180 episodes, 9 seasons, and it's pretty much in syndication. I mean, I think you can watch it on cable, but you can also stream it on Netflix now, which is crazy.
It's 5,000 and what, 240 minutes, something like that.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of minutes to Seinfeld.
Let's. I just wanted to talk briefly about some of the cultural significance of Seinfeld.
Sure.
Yeah. So the cultural significance of Seinfeld, I feel that other episodes or other shows have kind of taken a cue from Seinfeld. And the one that comes to mind primarily is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Not a bit more raunchy than Seinfeld could ever be on regular primetime TV.
Yes, but because for one, it's on
FX.
Yeah, it's on cable. Was it? Yes, it's on cable. So they get away with a little bit more. And I feel like the ratings or whatever, the commission that controls what FCC, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have allowed that back in the day.
Yeah. But I guess the premise of like a group of people that we stick with the entire time, and the setting being like primarily one location, in this case being a bar, kind of lends towards a Seinfeld influence. It's difficult to kind of like go any further with that as far as like a sitcom that has replicated this in some way. I would say that throughout my life, I've known that my parents as well have always referenced Seinfeld because we used to watch it together, and certain phrases that they say in Seinfeld, like, are you master of your domain, or there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah,
all those little things that kind of like leak into the zeitgeist of not necessarily society, but like almost homestead, like home life, where like families have kind of referenced, like you said, you reference it with your family, I reference it with my family and stuff like that, and other people that watched it at the same time. But
I don't know too many shows that replicate it other than, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Of course, Curb Your Enthusiasm. But, I mean, that is made by Larry David.
Curb Your Enthusiasm is like if George Costanza had his own show.
Which
You
I would
know,
have
and he had to put
absolutely
in like,
watched.
I would watch that too.
Pretty good.
Jason Alexander put into like weird scenarios.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Larry David's doing. He is George Costanza, and he is putting himself in these random scenarios
That's
that
what
are
I'm
so
saying, though,
awkward.
man. Like Shallow Hal, he was even like mimicking. It's a movie, of course, but almost has like some. Which is that's what I'm saying. It's funny that Jason Alexander's in there because it almost has like some of the Seinfeldian like motifs. You know what I mean? Like shallowness, like neuroses, but obviously there's like a good message in there. So if it was directed by Larry David or Seinfeld, it would
not
have
have a good
been
message.
Shallow Hal would have just been continued to be shallow, and no one would want to learn anything.
No, he just like leave being a
Fucking
shallow
Jason Alexander would have
piece
been
of
like, "You're right. She's ugly."
shit. She's like she's a warthog over here.
And at the end of it, Hal would have been like, he would have like come out of it and seen she's like, 500 pounds, or was like, "My God, you're right, Jason," or whatever his name is in the movie. Like, right?
You're right. I can't believe it. I'm disgusted. That would have been the alternate version.
Yeah,
of
just fucking cue the
Shallow Hal. Boom. It's a good thing there's no video here. I don't need to be ridiculed for myself. Hey there. I just want to take a quick second to thank you for checking out this episode. And we ask if you can leave a 5-star review on any of the podcast streaming platforms that you listen to, or if you happen to be on YouTube, check out our channel at CineQuest. And be sure to like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. And if you want to go any further in your support for us, you can check out our Patreon. It'll be in the Linktree link in the description below. Thank you very much. And continue on with the episode. So let's go into this episode. It's episode 1, season 1. We're going to just take it very briefly, scene by scene. So initially, Jerry or Seinfeld was called the Seinfeld Chronicles. And primarily we open up, and I'm making the assumption because I don't recall directly, but I'm almost
hold on.
95% positive.
I wanted to ask you about that, though. I'm sorry. You said it was the Seinfeld Chronicles. You told me that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's an interesting tidbit. But why don't they put that on the title card?
I think it might be it's just easier to like make sure that it's called Seinfeld throughout the rest of the episode.
Well, I'm glad they changed it to just Seinfeld.
Seinfeld
Chronicles does not make any sense.
Yeah, it's
dude.
a terrible name.
Who the fuck is? First of all, maybe I don't know. Was he pretty well known as a comic?
No, he
wasn't.
wasn't.
So it's like Seinfeld Chronicles.
This is a no-name
I would have
person.
been like, who the fuck is Seinfeld?
But that's what I'm saying is that like
why do I have his life chronicled? Like I don't know who the fuck this guy is.
Back when this started, I mean, like Jerry Seinfeld had obviously been on like Johnny Carson and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, comedy wasn't like the kind of thing it is today, where comedians are like in your face almost 24/7. You know, like this is kind of just a random name in the comedy ethos. You know, I mean, when Jerry Seinfeld was coming up, and we'll get to the episode in just a minute. When Jerry Seinfeld was coming up, I mean, there were comedians in the 80s that were way more popular. You know, you have like your Sam Kinnisons, your George Carlins, your even Richard Pryor. You have Eddie Murphy.
Pryor. Dude.
You know, you have Andrew Dice Clay.
Wow.
These are like these raunchy comedy was like in the 80s was like a thing.
Yeah.
You know, and Jerry Seinfeld, clean cut, tie, sports jacket. That's not getting you stadium well known.
Yeah. Andrew Dice Clay and
notoriety.
Seinfeld.
The pairing at Madison Square Garden.
Like, who are these people over here?
You know, it's funny is that I was watching a little clip of Andrew Dice Clay of and his like a stand up. And it's just weird because like he was like lighting a cigarette. He's like,
fucking chuckleheads ever have airplane food over here?
if you can't pair that with Seinfeld or even the show, because this is the joke that Andrew Dice Clay started off with when I saw the clip. He's like, so I was eating some girl's ass the other day.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not Seinfeld's humor.
No, it's not.
Not at all. And it just doesn't work. And that's why I think Seinfeld and even Larry David, even though Larry David's a bit edgier
than
Seinfeld could ever be. I think that was a good blend for them for Larry David to be a more edgy comedian, and Seinfeld's more clean cut comedy. Blend them together, you make a really revolutionary sitcom,
Yeah.
and that's what Seinfeld is. So, being that we start off with Seinfeld as being the star of the show, he is starting off with his stand up comedy, and we both agreed his comedy isn't that great.
Yeah.
What's up?
You want me to start?
Yeah, you can start those. Look, see, it's called Seinfeld Chronicles. You see it?
No. You want me to start back on one?
Yeah, just start
Okay,
back on
cool.
one. It's fine. So we have Jerry starting off his comedy.
I gotta say, man, I like the title card. I know it's not the iconic, but I like that. Like I think I told you earlier, that brutalist Seinfeld, where it's just like the straight font.
Yeah.
I don't know why I like it, but
So we have Seinfeld pretty much talking about how people are obsessed with communication.
yeah.
Right, and his jokes are how awkward it is to call someone and wait for them to pick up.
Also, can we talk about his outfit changes a lot throughout the? He's wearing a nice blazer and button up, and then the next couple of times wearing like this like blood red baggy ass shirt.
I don't know how significant the colors are in this.
I just think it's funny because
representative.
he just goes like, I don't know what it's up with that, and like everything is so it's so 90s because everything's so baggy. But the first opening scene, he's got like a just like a nice normal tapered blazer, not tapered, but like you know what I mean. I don't know. Also, we open up with Pete's Luncheon, not Monk's Diner.
Not Monk's Diner. Mind you, this is the pilot, so this is them like trying to work the relationships out, the connections, the chemistry between the characters. We have Jerry speaking with George about. They started off with a button conversation, which replays itself in the very finale, and those are those minuscule moments where you wouldn't get the joke.
Yeah.
So
unless you're a true Seinfeld fan.
Unless you're a fucking hardcore Seinfeld fan like us.
Yeah.
But Jerry is telling him about a woman named Laura that he spoke to, and like I think she's gonna come over to his apartment, and they're kind of like trying to like decipher what it means whenever she's gonna come in and she calls him to come to New York, and she hasn't agreed. She hasn't asked him to stay at his house yet.
Yeah.
She's kind of just tell him, "Oh yeah, I'll be in town." And what does that mean? What is the significance of her telling him that?
I will say this:
is it her just being nice? Is she trying to like say like give him a hint that they should go out? And
yes.
they are interacting with the waitress, Claire. What was her name?
Yeah, Claire.
And I think she was initially supposed to be a permanent character. Obviously, she's not. We don't ever see her fucking face again.
That would have been weird. If
it would have been weird.
Yeah,
you don't want them to have like.
I don't need to have this like. That. I don't need to have this fucking like Cheers-esque person coming in and being like.
Maybe that's what they were doing. They were ripping off. They're like, this is supposed to be Carla. That's why they call her Claire.
I think maybe, man. I think maybe they were gonna have the diner be the central place because it's mostly Jerry's apartment. Now, yes, Monk's Diner is a big thing. But I wonder if they were thinking like, let's do like the diner be the one, the place where we have all the things going down. Which
would have been hilarious. It would have been hilarious
if
they had like every time they'd walk in, they'd be like,
this layout.
Jerry!
Yeah, I know. All right, I bet, dude. But like, pilot luncheon place, Pete's Luncheon sucks. This layout does not work. Because for one, no, it's not. It's not the vibe as the kids say nowadays. But also, if I may, it's not conducive to as they have the characters all meet up later on. The booth makes sense.
Right.
They would have never been able to do that shit with this.
Yeah, this is a small ass table for two.
Yeah.
And mind you, they do that sometimes, but they always are sitting on a booth that is only made for two.
Yeah.
But it's always a booth. Mm-hmm. Or the rare times that they meet up at the bar. And that also makes it an awkward situation because they can't even see each other.
Yeah.
And that just causes confusion to where they just go back to the booth.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But so, again, Claire is supposed to be the other character that is almost like the voice of reason because George is neurotic. Jerry is undecisive.
We established the neuroses of George in this episode. But I was going to say back earlier to what they were talking about with the signals. I will say that for its datedness, they do touch upon, the eternal questions of man and woman. Like, what does man want? What does woman want? It kind of does touch. I mean, these are very easy subjects to touch upon, but. I mean, anyways, I'm sorry. I don't even know where I was going with that, but I will say this: like, I was just trying to say, for the datiness of the show, they do touch upon things that plague man and woman.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So next scene, we move over to them in a laundromat, and I mean, as a person who's lived in apartments and stuff, I've been to many laundromats, but in this case, I never really had someone to speak to unless it was like a significant other or something. I always had my phone to keep me busy. And we weren't having like loud conversations like we talked about whenever we were watching this initially.
Yeah, he just
amongst
George
these
acting
strangers.
the fool.
George being so overdramatic in his responses, and the fact that he's kind of annoyed with Jerry for bringing up the fact that this woman Laura, he's still kind of confused on her intentions, calling him to come to New York City, and George is pretty much telling him like she just would be nice, like she didn't mean anything by it, blah blah blah, whatever. And of course, like they get very over dramatic in this whole conversation. We discussed this, Jerry.
Yeah, doing that in front of all these fucking people. I don't know, man.
And we made a point during this scene that like the background actors are just literally refolding and folding the same clothes over and over again. And I mean, I personally want more realistic shit going on in my background, like
Actually, well, that brings up a good point. I didn't even think about that before this, but the later seasons, they don't really have a lot of background. Not that I can think of. In the diner, yes, but they're not. In the diner, yes, but the layout of the scene is so different because, again, they focus in on the booth. You don't really see a lot of what's going on outside of that area. There a little bit, but this is not a shot you would see in later Seinfeld where it's like them up front, people behind, directly behind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. That's something crazy, but it just is not like a later Seinfeld shot, like the way they set it up. Am I crazy?
No.
You know what I mean?
think
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
When it comes to them like conversing specifically,
Yeah.
I don't think many people in the background were in the shot significantly.
Yeah.
Or we're like seeing them dead on. Like they were more like blurred out in the background.
Yeah.
And you can't really tell what they're doing. I mean, mostly you would assume they're eating if they're in a diner.
Yeah.
Or if they're in a restaurant, like again, they're eating. So I mean, it's not anything significant that you could like. For instance, with these people, you could see them folding the same fucking color shirt.
It's a little too
multiple times.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to Jerry's
a lot of stand up in the first one, man.
And the perspective, like that one shot that we just saw right now of him, like
behind
the
his
back,
volume,
the back of his head, looking at the audience. I don't think they ever did that again. And good, because that's a terrible shot.
Yeah, it's a terrible shot. Got look behind his fucking volumized hair and shit. Yeah. 90s ass motherfucker.
And then we've established that Jerry's comedy is not
it's bad.
the best.
It's so bad.
It's bad
Talking
comedy.
about socks, missing socks.
Yeah, socks. Yeah, especially because that's how mundane the show. Like that's why this whole show about nothing nonsense came about. Is because even Jerry's comedy is just like, man, I went to the laundromat and we're all losing socks, right? Everybody.
Do you think that like?
What's going on with the socks?
Yeah.
What's going on with the missing sock?
Man.
There's always one sock that's missing. Like,
do you think that was like actually successful comedy in the 90s?
I mean, he got a show out of it.
Are we supposed to believe that he's affording this? Whatever. I'll tell you this, man. Just from experience. Now I don't know when this was shot, like how much apartments were going for and all that, but from a little personal experience of my own, visiting my friend in New York. He had an apartment. It was a single bedroom apartment with a kitchen and a bathroom. There was no living room. He was paying $1,100 for that, and he was sharing that room. He was sharing that apartment with a roommate who. So my friend had a pull-out sofa that he was sleeping in the kitchen, and the roommate was sleeping in the bedroom.
That's wild.
And that was $1,100, folks. So. Now, I guess observational humor about socks escaping and shit from the dryer, that's enough to pay your rent. That's nice apartment with a living room, a kitchen. beautiful sun, like like a skylight thing.
I always
going
think
on.
that I think we're attributing these the apartments that we're
Why does
seeing
Kramer live? What does
now.
he fucking do? He doesn't even do anything. How does he make all them? I don't know. Anyways, I'm sorry.
I mean, but we established later on that he's been on strike this whole
It's
time.
wild, man. Oh yes,
he's been on strike
that's
this whole
later.
time.
Yes, the bagel shop. Yes.
And mind you, with his many business ventures, when it comes to like the coffee table book or
Mm-hmm.
the make your own pie thing,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's got to be an advance somewhere in there
Yeah, that's true.
that would
man.
allow him. But this would have to be in the like almost
Well, we don't find that out
hundreds
till
of thousands
later.
of
Yeah.
dollars for him to like continuously live in an apartment where
Well, he's saving on the grocery bill.
Well, yeah, he's eating at Jerry's place.
Eating
like,
Jerry's food.
Eats Jerry's food.
Hell yeah, dude.
And again, this is an introduction to Kessler, later Kramer.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that Michael Richards really established Kramer in this one scene.
Oh yeah.
Like there was nothing to improve on.
No.
This was the character, and this is the character throughout the whole series. And
Well,
it was
if I
perfect
may-
from the intro.
If I may, I will say I don't 100% agree with you on that because I did want to mention I feel as if he's more of a goof in this. Now, yes, he's always been goofy, but as you will know, later on he's a hipster doofus. And here he's just a goof, dude, because later on, he's a ladies' man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But he ain't that in these two first I don't know, even the first season, I don't know, man, but he's
well, because I mean, even in this scene, you're not establishing him as someone who is we're gonna see his relationships. you know?
he's just a big mooch.
But I mean,
in the
like,
first one, and goofy. But like, I swear, man, like honestly, hey, Kramer, he's a fucking man, bro. All right,
is,
like
yeah.
throughout the rest of the seasons and shit, like as we develop him, my man's cool as fuck, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean.
Well, I mean,
I don't know what to tell you, man. This is not it. As later on, as it goes on later on, like we get stuff. I think as the hair increases, he becomes cooler. You know what I mean? I don't know.
See, I disagree because I feel that even with this goofiness that we see in front of him, that's a charming thing. And
I don't know,
the
dude.
ladies
No, it's just-
would like be drawn to someone who's just going, or like he's always like he's eating. Look at the way he's eating the sandwich.
Yeah.
Like it's messy. Like he doesn't give a fuck. He comes in. This motherfucker comes in
Are you
with
trying to say
two
because it looks
slices
like-
of bread in his pocket.
Are you saying because he's eating roast beef? Is that supposed to imply something, right? What is that? What are you saying, man? Like,
I'm just saying that I feel that the character of Kessler / Kramer and the way he acts is established well in this scenario.
it's good.
And I think it was perfect. I think Michael Richards played him perfectly for a pilot because I don't think it goes anything different. We just see the growth of Kramer and, as you put it, the hipster doofus. Whenever he's a ladies' man and he is just cool as shit. You know, like he doesn't care. He's a confident dude.
Man.
He's just a guy who's living his life, going with the flow, and nothing's gonna like.
Always has the
answers,
answers, even though the answers are always wrong. It doesn't matter. Like he always has them. Like, he's like,
nothing's gonna
yeah.
kick him off his wave.
Hell
and
no.
That's what I love.
That's what we
about
all need to strive to be, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go back to this scenario where Jerry's still confused about Laura's visit.
And we have
And
Skinny George telling him,
Jerry's.
"This is the signal, Jerry. This is the signal."
Mind you, she asked him to stay at his place because he called.
gosh.
She called during the scene with Kramer and his introduction to him,
Oh man.
and she asked him to stay at his place. Jerry's bringing over a mattress, and Kramer
puts his
and
foot
George.
on, apparently, what an asshole.
Kramer and George are telling Jerry,
I didn't notice that.
why even give her a choice because she wants to bang,
Folks.
right? She wants to bang. Why even give her the option of sleeping somewhere else?
Talk
Because you're basically gonna say with the offer of the mattress
Yep.
that maybe I'm not interested either, so you can sleep here, you know. And then she's gonna get, oh, what is this, a soy boy or something?
Yeah, I was about to say. Let me talk like a politician for a minute, guys. Like, folks, this would have never been made nowadays. This is inappropriate. PC culture has canceled this kind of programming. This is, I don't know, man. Yeah, it's Yeah, exactly what you're saying. Like it's a soy boy thing. Like they wouldn't have done this nowadays. It's very like you're saying. It's like predatory behavior.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
even give her the option, Jerry? It's like,
Why? She's got to sleep
it's
in
like-
your bed. That's
it's
it.
like-
That's the only option she
Yeah,
has.
it's like you might as well you might as well take the couch out so she can only has one place to sleep and shit.
And like, well, you could sleep on this side of the bed.
Yeah.
While
That's
I'm,
right. Yeah.
while I'm naked.
Oh, wait a minute. That's weird. There's no hallway to his bedroom. Did you notice that?
Yeah. What's
Where is he
different?
sleeping?
It's a different apartment.
But where does he sleep?
It's probably like you don't see it, but it's probably like just off to the side. I mean, we're just establishing the fact that this apartment doesn't look
And
like the original apartment.
it doesn't.
from
It's very different.
Seinfeld.
I like the skylight, but not as good an apartment. Now I must make mention of this fucking shirt. One could even argue it's a blouse that fucking Seinfeld is wearing in the stand-up. It's like
It's so
blood red,
shiny.
some Blade
It's shiny.
vampire shit, dude. It's like shiny. It looks like when fucking
got it from Gadzooks, man.
yeah. Well, it looks like when the fucking Frost character he turns into the fucking blood god or whatever. Like that's almost like the fucking texture that's on this thing, dude. I don't know. And this is very 90s. It's super baggy. Might as well be a night at the Roxbury's if you ask me. Dude. Like that's the vibe I'm getting from it, man. But anyways,
This is Chris Kattan over here.
yeah, yeah, man.
But yeah, so like from Jerry's stand up again still with the confusion about his visit or Laura's visit, we're gonna lead into the fact that they go to pick her up at the airport, and George and Jerry are discussing what the signal is between the greeting. What does it mean when a woman greets you?
Yeah.
Or in this case, how Laura
These
greets
are the
Jerry.
eternal questions.
Yes, because I mean, these are the signals that everyone is confused about. You know, is it the hug with the ass sticking out?
Oh yes.
Is it the one-sided hug? Is it the one-hand hug? You know,
The high five.
what does all this mean? Like, where do you stand with a person that you're interested in, and how they greet you? And you know what? It's funny is that I feel like I've been in these scenarios before, because you think.
Is it the walk up and grab the boobie grab greeting, the crotch grab? I don't know. You know what I mean?
If she walks up and grabs your wiener and goes, "How do you do?" Fucking tugs on it. You're like, "Am I reading too much into that?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That one handshake, the hand over the handshake, and then the palm over the hand. You know.
Oh yeah, they do.
But in this case, Laura comes in, puts her hands over Jerry's eyes, says, "Guess who?" And then they get like the handshake, the two handshake. And what does that mean? George cannot decide, and neither can Jerry. So they're still confused on what this means, because this was the outlier greeting that they weren't expecting.
And they grab the two hands, they're shaking them. Like, yeah, it's awkward.
And we later find out, whenever Jerry and Laura are in the apartment alone, that she has a fiance that she didn't tell Jerry about initially, which we posed the question, is that a right thing to do? Should she have divulged that information to Jerry before asking to stay at his place, saying, I do have because I mean, like, that could have informed his decision on whether or not he could let her stay there. Now, he could have let her stay there still, right?
Yeah, guys, we're not saying that he's right. Well, it's not saying that he's a bad guy or a good guy either way. Again, like, he could have been a nice guy.
I just
and
feel
let her
like
stay there anyways. But
she should have like divulged that.
I think that's something that you would want to bring up. I don't know. Well, I don't know we don't know what the chemistry is between these people before that. Yeah. Maybe there was a little romantic inclination. Who knows? But you know what's funny? Do you see the mattress roll up in the corner?
Yeah, in the corner,
Yeah, he didn't give her the option.
Well, I mean, it's there.
Oh, is it there?
Is it there?
Well, you know what? What do we? Maybe George maybe Jerry's gonna be the good guy. He's gonna sleep on that mattress.
Yeah, probably.
Sleep on the bed.
Ideally, look.
Hey,
let me just say this: like in a scenario like this, when you're not exactly sure where you stand with a woman, especially if she's gonna like turn down the lights, in a guy's mind, and I'm just saying this as just a general.
Do you got some Everclear? I want to get real rowdy up in here.
Dimming the lights, and there's two people alone in an apartment, and they're drinking wine. You think you're about to get some action. I think. Now, if he had known that this is all these things, like them drinking wine, being in a dim lit apartment, is fine, assuming he knows that she has a fiance and he's not gonna like intrude on that relationship, you know. But if she hadn't told him yet, I feel that's
because she has to go on a 5-hour boat ride, guys.
yeah, a 5-hour boat ride. That is not something any guy would do willingly if he didn't think he was.
Just so you didn't know, guys, this is not Gilligan's Island, right? It's not a 3-hour tour.
That was a 3-hour tour. Dude.
Yes,
this is
exactly.
For a 5-hour tour.
Yeah, holy shit. Yeah.
All right, and who knows if there's a skipper or a Gilligan,
or
a movie star,
a billionaire, or anything,
and his wife,
yeah,
or the professor and Marianne.
Yeah.
No one knows if these people are on there, like just in case some shit goes.
You know
down,
what?
You know?
Sidebar here. Marianne or Ginger? Who's your girl?
Marianne.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know. Ginger is just she's not it, man. Marianne, I don't know what it is. And it's funny because they make Ginger, not this is such a digression, but Ginger, they make her out to be the love, interest, but Marianne was so much cuter, dude. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, she is. I mean, I don't know. That's a whole other discussion.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that anyways.
But right, so like what do you think? Like, I mean, she should have told him, right?
Yeah. Oh God, here we go back. And if I may, we're back to the fucking stand-up. He's got that blood red fucking blade shirt on, but now he has it buttoned up to the neck. Why? You're not at a business meeting? And then he has the blazer. It's so huge. But look, okay, going back. I'm supposed to say, as obviously it's correct to be like, well, it shouldn't matter, and it doesn't necessarily. I will agree with that, but
I think
it is weird for her not to mention.
I think it's just a courtesy thing to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, is it not weird for you to mention anything about your fiance? You talk over the phone, nothing? And I want to tell you this, which is weird because we kind of skipped over this, but there's a scene where she's getting the call from the fiance. I guess she gave him Jerry's number.
Right.
She's talking, and then she's like, I'm not going to have this discussion.
Yeah.
To me,
that's a jealous
guy.
That
signals something of like, oh, you're staying at this guy's house and I don't like it. What's up, babe? What's up?
Babe, like, what are you doing at this guy's house, babe?
He's a fucking comedian? I don't like that.
But see, like, he has a problem with it. Somewhat. At least we can establish that
something's
in
up
a way.
With it. They don't say what it is, but something's
that's
up
why she should have like divulged that information to Jerry, saying like when they first met, look, I have a fiance, he's okay with me staying at your place.
Yeah.
You know? And not to say that like she has to ask him for permission or she has to like necessarily tell Jerry, but Jerry's under the impression if you're gonna stay at my place,
ask for permission. It's his place. Of course, she's gotta ask for permission.
No. Permission for the fiance.
Oh yeah. No.
She doesn't.
I'm not saying that. I just yeah, that's whatever. Like I think she would have let him known about that to go or whatever. But I don't know, man.
It's confusing a bit. Yeah.
Yes, this, which again is the whole message of the fucking episode.
Yeah,
mixed signals, dude.
Mixed signals. Yeah. And we end with Jerry throwing out his leg as going.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Do you think he was really trying? Yes, but I gotta ask. Do you think he was trying to get his comedy career like a little bit more off with this?
Hold on.
Bless you. Bless you.
No, I think
you need to go visit Jerry's. No. You need to go visit Kramer's friend for that holistic medicine trip, dude.
I don't think Jerry was trying to get his comedy career off the ground. I think this was like the pinnacle for comedians back in the day. Like they wanted to get a show or to write for a big series. That was like the thing back in the day, you know?
Yeah.
Nowadays, you get a successful podcast and then you talk about expensive watches or you have friends that kind of like get you into it like Brandon Schaub and you're not funny.
Or you bring in women on that are on OnlyFans so you can tell them like they're pieces of shit or whatever.
Yeah. Like... But anyways, there's no resolution to this show. Like the
You think that's what Jerry would have been like in nowadays? Jerry and fucking Michael Richards and Jason Alexander, like they would have been doing podcasts. They would have been the No Jumper podcast or the fucking the whatever that Manosphere one. What's the other one? The fucking Manosphere one. The
Fresh and Fit.
Yeah, Fresh and Fit. Would have been all fucking George, all like a fucking like backwards hat. And like, yeah, Jerry, these women don't know shit. They don't know shit, Jerry.
Well, that's the modernization, and that's what we're gonna get into now. Like, how would we modernize this scenario?
What is with the OnlyFans, ladies? Why?
Ladies, I've seen your butthole. God damn!
Don't you know
I've
when
seen
you're
it so many times.
30 and no woman's gonna want you, no man is gonna want you.
I've seen your butthole already. Like, so let's modernize this a little bit. We open up. We're not even gonna talk about Jerry's. We're not gonna modernize Jerry's comedy because that's just his thing. Whatever. Where would people meet in this day and age if it wasn't like a diner like they are meeting at when we open up the episode?
Discord, Zoom. I don't know.
no one's even like communicating in person. They're on Discord. They're on Zoom. They're communicating via chat on YouTube.
I don't know. Yeah, man. I don't know. Well, full disclosure, we're middle-aged men, so we don't really know where young people meet. But I would say, like maybe a coffee shop, dude. I don't know. I mean, the Monk's Diner is a diner, but would they meet?
I think a general, like a place that only serves coffee, would be a good place for people to meet up to talk about shit.
Dude. We're so fucking old, bro. Anyways, I don't know.
But to meet in person with friends,
they meet at the TikTok store.
What the fuck is a TikTok
I don't know.
store?
I'm saying, you meet at the TikTok store, the Roblox factory. I don't know, man.
The Mac store, probably.
Yeah, I mean,
no, I think a general coffee shop would be a good place for people to meet up, and or I would say like from observational scenarios, I think people meet up like at a Chili's or an Applebee's to have drinks and talk at the end of the day, because realistically, George and Jerry are meeting middle of the afternoon.
Yeah,
it seems. Who's doing that if they're not? They have to work and they meet up later on.
Yeah,
they're working
it's a very different
jobs.
time,
This is like
economically different time. Yeah,
mind you, Jerry is a comedian. His job is at night.
Yeah,
so he's like free, and I can only assume that it was a weekend when this was happening. Because George was also available, and
but don't you find that weird though?
He's in real estate. George is in real estate, so like he would have a 9-to-5 job, you know.
Well, maybe, but real estate agents would only meet with people who were interested in the property. They wouldn't need to be at an office necessarily. I mean, yes, they would obviously have to do that sometimes, but why would Jerry have the weekend off? That's the best time to do comedy.
Damn, that's right. Was it Friday or Saturday afternoon?
Oh, that's true. He wouldn't be in there till night. Yes, you're right.
Okay, so let's say coffee shop. What about the next scene? Are we could still meet up in a laundromat to continue our discussion, because laundromats still exist.
They do, man.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know if people are like really having deep conversations about relationships. They probably could. I don't know. I don't know people who invite their friends to go to laundromat.
Talking about Ray, it's the future, man.
Do friends invite their friends to go to laundromats with them?
No, clothes are washed by lasers now. This is what 30 years, 40 years in the future.
Yeah,
we're washing clothes with lasers and drying with solar energy. Dude.
Oh shit. Let's think of another scenario. So Jerry has videotaped a ball game. He could easily go on TikTok or YouTube to see the results of that,
or just on his phone, or even like you have cable, dude. Just video on demand, like TiVo. You don't even need it. You know, here's how far past like all this is, because this would have been solved by TiVo. TiVo, you don't even need TiVo anymore, dude. Like any fucking cable service now has like video on demand. You can replay all that shit, dude.
Oh yeah. So he wouldn't have to have like
he wouldn't need any of that.
Like
or
VHS.
If you want to just be like, you didn't care about watching the game, check the score.
Yeah, you can check the score.
He
Yeah.
could have.
I think, like I said, I told you, TikTok or Instagram
Yeah, man.
would have given you all the highlights that you needed without watching an entire 9-inning game.
Yeah.
But for instance, if you had a friend that came over randomly at 1 a.m, that's still kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, I don't know if they would be coming
What
over at
is
1 a.m. to
this?
eat a sandwich.
Yeah, no shit. What is this goofy ass score? A skibbity Rizzler.
You came over here to eat roast beef?
Yeah.
Are you serious? You drove all the way over here to eat roast beef? Oh, yeah, buddy. I have bread just in my jacket here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was trying to think of some more like Gen Z, Gen Alpha slang that Jerry could be saying.
You go, you came over here to eat roast beef? No cap.
Yeah. No cap. No cap.
You go, no cap. You coming over here at 1 a.m? That's a sus.
That's totally sus.
It's
on God. On God.
Oh, shit. So what else? What else can we do to modernize Seinfeld here? Let's see.
George, I'm telling you, she's got the get. The get. Sorry, man.
Would someone go on a 5-hour boat ride?
No,
in
and
this modern day. I don't think anyone has the attention span to do that.
no, and I think
Or the time.
I think we had discussed earlier that the solution to a lot of the problems on the show would have been a cell phone.
a cell phone. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have like solved
It would have solved a lot of problems on this fucking show.
Especially a modern cell phone. You can't use that with a
Yeah, he's not going to be able to
90s,
bring a
brick.
Razor, Motorola Razor, and
When that-
shit.
Well, back in the day, they had the brick phones. You know,
Yeah.
fucking Zach Morris, fucking jacked up fucking brick
Well,
phones.
we had when I was a kid, we had the car phones. You remember the car phones?
Oh, you
Remember
had
in the
that?
bags?
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, we had.
I haven't seen one of those in a long time.
Yeah, we had one of them.
Those
it was in a bag.
Those people had money.
No, we didn't. But the thing is, for some reason, I don't know. My mom had one in her fucking Buick Dynasty or Dodge Dynasty, but you had to plug it into the cigarette lighter.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I swear to God, man, you could feel the radiation coming off that fucking thing, dude. That was like I probably got brain cancer from that shit. But yeah, we pick it up. It was in the bag. You take it off the thing, beep beep, 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 fucking dialing and shit. Goddamn, dude.
What would be some of the signs in this modern times, Bryce, whenever it comes to a man and a woman communicating, and maybe there's some confusion as to what their intentions are? Now, I think someone asking to stay at your place, again, if it's not established as the relationship, because I mean, I have women friends, and like whenever it comes to like them staying over or this and that kind of shit, like it's already established. I offer my bed, I'll sleep on the couch kind of thing, right? Because that's not like something you're looking for. But if it's someone you don't know entirely well and you're interested in, and they want to stay at your place and they ask to stay at your place, like what exactly does one do in that scenario? Is it still as confusing whenever they greet somebody? The only thing I can say, like whenever it's a green light, if it's something that might turn into something more, say you open the door and they give you a deep hug.
Yeah.
Maybe that's kind of something to tell. I have no idea. But I mean, because I'm bad at it. I'm pretty sure you're bad at it too whenever it comes to reading the signals.
No, Ray, I'm actually a savant when it comes to it. Yeah, man. I'll be honest with you, dude. Like, I think you have more female friends where that situation would come out. Not to sound like a fucking asshole or some kind of like problematic guy, but
I think
you have a lot of like
I
female friends,
right? And the thing
I
is,
wish I had more female friends. I don't.
I think I got that primarily from watching Seinfeld and how
female friends
and how like the relationship between
you
Jerry
like
and
Seinfeld.
Elaine was.
Oh my God, I gotta be friends with you.
No, I'm just saying like how it's a thing, you know, like
so intellectual.
They can kind of like talk about things, personal things. And it's never turns out. I mean, there is some confusion throughout that series.
That's funny you mentioned that because season 2, or not season 2, but episode 2, one of the jokes he makes, platonic relationship.
Yeah.
Imagine having a relationship named after you. Because he talked about Plato.
Yeah.
Yeah. What it says is hi, my name is Rico, and we'd like to go to bed immediately. That's called a Riconic relationship.
Riconic relationship.
Yeah.
Shut up, Jerry.
Yeah. Shut your ass up, Jerry.
Shut the fuck up, Jerry.
When we come in the season 2, or I'm sorry, episode 2 of season 1, fucking mom and dad just in the living room on the fold-out couch. Awkward. Doesn't make any sense.
So there was no resolution to this episode. First. And we kind of ended up on the stand-up. I
did not like that. I think they should have done the whole boat ride.
And yeah, see what happened after that.
Yeah.
Like what was did he make her sleep on the mattress? Did he sleep on the mattress, or did he offer her the bed?
I think if this was a more modern Seinfeld, or maybe like a later episode of Seinfeld, she would have fallen off the boat and died, and be like,
she would have.
Yeah, why not? She would have fallen off and be like, he'd have to answer the phone and be like, hey, I'm sorry to tell you, but she, I don't know what the fuck.
She's gone.
She's gone.
Yeah,
he would have been like, she never came to the apartment.
She was never here, but I spoke to her at your place.
Yeah.
What is the deal? What's the deal with all these questions?
All right.
Let's rate the episode, Bryce. I mean, this is the pilot episode, and I know they're trying to establish the characters, and we're just trying to see the chemistry between them.
It's bad.
What?
Bad.
1 out of 5, Bryce. What would you rate the pilot episode?
Now again, I gotta implement the rating scale because you're giving me this rating system, but what are we rating it? What are we basing
this
it
is
on?
all on your opinion, Bryce. This is nothing. There's no real scale.
But what? Like, what are we basing this off of? Like, okay, pilot episode of Seinfeld versus pilot episode
this is how
pilot episode of Friends. I'm gonna if that's the case, it's 5 out of 5, my man. But if it's Seinfeld pilot versus all the other Seinfeld episodes, this is a 1 out of 5 because
this is your opinion, bad or good. Now, we're not basing it on any other sitcom. This is the episode as
all
it
right,
stands.
Seinfeld. If I'm gonna give it that, if we're gonna do it based off all this criteria of are we giving a criteria based on nothing? Is this a show based on no? Sure.
Remember, these ratings are your opinions.
I love the man. Well, not really. I don't like Seinfeld that much, but I love the show. And I hate to give it a bad rating, but I got to give it a 2 out of 5, man. It's stinky, man. It's not so good. But again, they're trying to lay the foundation for something that will be much better, and I got to appreciate that. It has the elements of Seinfeld jokes, so I can appreciate that. But, it just has that, like, pilot stink. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just not... I'm glad it kept going, and it was good enough, apparently, to catch the attention of some people, so I thank God for that, but I can't in good conscience say it's good.
All right.
Sorry.
I will give it the middle of the road, Bryce. I think Seinfeld in the pilot episode is still working itself out. We're still trying to establish who Jerry, George, and Kessler are. So I'm going to just give it a 2.5 out of 5. Middle of the road for a 2.5 out of 5. Middle of the road rating for the pilot episode of Seinfeld. They're trying. Jerry's comedy stinks, but we see the potential that this series has. And that's where I'll leave that. All right, Bryce, we're going to end our episode. Our first episode of Seinfeld, or CineQuest watches Seinfeld. Again, we're looking for a better name. And hopefully by the time that this is released, we'll have that available.
Yeah.
I think it's in the bag. I'm glad we finally did this, and I've been waiting to talk about Seinfeld for a long time.
It's called The Quone Show. It's a quone.
It's a quone. That is a
deep cut.
Season 1, episode 2.
That would be deep cut though.
Yeah. If if you watched Seinfeld as a kid or even now as an adult and you're a fan, I mean, please leave a comment on what you thought about episode 1. And we hope to continue on the rest of the series. And we'll see how season 1 does.
You liked it, please.
So I mean, we have 9 seasons to go.
Good
and
Lord.
180 episodes. That's a lot.
Hey, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's a show needs to be talked about, and we're gonna do it.
If you'll see a visual representation on YouTube, not necessarily with our faces, but with clips and pictures of the episode that we're talking about. And
I still think we ought to do one. What could have hurt? Let's do one video episode.
We'll pick a few. Maybe the season finales we'll do.
And then I'll tell you what. Videos. Do you do that? Subscribe to Patreon. I'll dress like Seinfeld. No. Or hopefully we'll get a friend of ours on it.
Yeah, you know, I'm hoping to get other Seinfeld fans on this episode.
Let's get other people. Like anyone who likes Seinfeld. We need more Seinfeld.
I know we're not the only ones. We can't be. It's almost impossible.
As Kurt Cobain would say, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one.
Well, this will be the end of this episode. And if this is January 2025, this is when you're listening to it. And we appreciate you listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, and we appreciate you watching the clips that we provided for you along with the audio, please like and subscribe. We appreciate anyone who gives us their time. And it goes, of course, comment below. Or comment on the actual audio version of this.
Yeah.
And rate it and review it.
Oh, yeah.
That's always appreciated. Thank you. You have a wonderful evening.
Yeah.
This is Ray from CineQuest Video signing off.
And this is Bryce.
We hope to see you again.
Yeah.
On the next CineQuest Watches.
Getting sensual at the end here, man.
Huh?
You're getting sensual at the end there.
You're getting very NPR.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
okay.
This is my audition tape for NPR.
Oh, okay.
So if we never do another Seinfeld episode, you know I got hired at NPR. I don't have time to do it anymore.
Oh,
but you'll hear me over there.
Yeah.
When I'm like,
no.
That was
and this is Ray Miranda with All Things Considered.
This is Luis Miranda from All Things Considered. The song we're about to listen to right now is from Mannequin Pussy.
Yeah, yes, you fucking do some shit like that.
Like, this is Squirts from Animal and the Sniffers.
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
and you're listening to NPR.
Animal Sniffers. Start off as a.
You're a dumb cunt. Yeah. You're an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. You would fucking do some shit.
We'll see you next time, or hopefully you'll listen to us next time.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye.